Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Property Management 101, and today we'll be discussing best practices for managing your weekend shifts. If you've not already done so, please watch my disclosure video as well as my why I do this video. And if you found this video helpful and learned something new, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. This video will apply best for anyone that is a supervisor at a company or at a particular property that requires weekend shifts. Now, here are the 3 best practices for considering how to manage your weekend shifts. Number 1, disclose on the front end. If your site or your company requires you to be open during the weekend, that is something I would very much disclose on the front end. I would start by disclosing on the job posting. I would disclose it during the interview process. I would disclose it as well on the job offer letter and or contract. You really want to make sure that that candidate is okay before they even accept the position, knowing they're going to have to work some weekend shifts. One of the things I think it will be very beneficial as well for you as the supervisor interviewing for the position as well as for the candidate is to really consider the details and having those details available as your interview process goes on, and with included the contract and or offer letter, just to ensure that there's a good expectation that's set for what is going to be required regarding that weekend shift. Number 2 best practice to consider when managing your weekend shifts, you really want to rotate shifts. And so you don't want the same staff to be working every single weekend. Regardless if someone says they don't mind or they want the extra money or if they want the extra bonuses, you really want to rotate the shifts to avoid any type of burnout. Even if someone says they're okay with working a few extra shifts, you don't want the rest of the staff to take advantage of that and have a situation where they feel bitterness to the rest of the staff, or the rest of the staff may be bitter that they're getting on the leases if your weekend is a heavy lease time. So no matter what, you want to have a consistent rotation for everyone that's required, as well as if you're requiring maintenance to be on call during the weekends or work weekend shifts as well. So just keep that in mind. You don't want it to be dominant by just 1 or 2 individuals amongst your staff to be working those weekend shifts. This is also really important to keep a consistent standard and to ensure that everyone is working the weekend shifts to avoid any type of situations where, let's say that a newer employee is working the majority of the weekend shifts. You don't want to have a situation where they do or perform a process incorrectly and it's never caught because no one else is working that weekend shifts but that one particular staff member. So it's a really good way to consistently catch and keep a consistent standard amongst all of the staff. And the last best practice to consider when managing your weekend shifts, looking to remove them. So I would not recommend having weekend shifts and being open on the weekends long term. I totally understand a lot of situations you may be open the weekend during a lease up or a renovation, or if it's a situation you're below such a certain metric, whether it be occupancy or whether it be, hey, we need to get so many leases per week or per month during that lease up. I totally understand all that, but I also want to really encourage any company or supervisor that's in charge of this to avoid being open weekends if it's possible. It's just not sustainable long term. You're going to see a lot of your staff you're going to have a lot more turnover when it comes to your staff because of weekend shifts. Even if someone says they're okay with it, I think most employees would say that long term they would prefer not working it. And even if someone's okay with it now, their family dynamic can change. So you really don't want to have that on long term. You're just really going to see a lot of burnout and turnover of your staff if you do. In the event you're required to be open during the weekends for particular reasons permanently, here's the best suggestion I can make for situations like this, is to really overstaff when it comes to your overall staff that will be rotating these weekend shifts. And the reason why is this. Number 1, you're going to have more turnover having weekend shifts. Every site, every company I've been involved with has that dynamic with anyone that has the weekend shifts that are required permanently. Number 2, in the event someone leaves, you don't want to burn out the rest of the staff. So you want to have enough staff members that it's not going to cause the staff members to be on call every other weekend or every third weekend. We really want to overstaff if you're going to require someone to be in a rotation. This is also nice because if you are fully staffed and you have some additional staff, you may only be required to work that weekend shift once out of every 4 or 5 weekends, not necessarily every 2 to 3 weekends. So in the event you are required to have it on permanently, as far as offering weekend shifts, that is the best suggestion I can make for this. If you do have any questions regarding this video or any of my videos, feel free to comment below. I'll be happy to address them. And if you found this video helpful and learned something new, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Happy leasing!